Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to World News 28 News Channel. So let's talk about reading Australia fire signals. For more than 3 weeks now, striking photographs from Australian towns and villages bathed in an orange background have been making global headlines and circulating on social media. The glowing orange background is because of smoke from an unprecedented spate of forest fires in large part of Australia for more than 3 months now. Forest fires, or bushfires as they are known in some parts of the world, are common occurrence in Australia during the summer season, but the scale and the intensity this year has been extraordinary, and scientists are already attributing it to the climate change. Many of them are warning that the scenes from Australia could be a glimpse of the future, that awaits our planet if urgent action is not initiated on climate change. What causes forest fires? Forest fire wildfire routinely occur across the world in hot and dry seasons. Dry leaves, grass, shrubs, deadwood, etc. are easily combustible. Ignition happens naturally from lightning strikes, for example, or accidentally from sources such as cigarette stubs. Suitable speed and direction of wind help spread a forest fire faster. It usually comes to an end due to rain or because there is no further continuous vegetation to spread to. Sometimes fires are ignited on purpose, either to clear the land or even to control an incoming forest fire by removing the vegetation that would have aided the incoming fire for the spread. Last year, the fires in the Amazon forest in the Brazil had become controversial because they were largely seen to have a result of the deliberate burning by the farmers and large agro-industry players keen on getting more land. Major forest fires were reported last year in the US, Canada, and Europe too. During the summer months, fires are common in the forest of India as well, though their scale and impact are much smaller. How common are forest fires in Australia? Australia, where the summer starts around October, is known to be the most fire-prone of the all continents. This is mainly because Australia is also the driest inhabited continent. Almost 70% of its area comprises arid or semi-arid land, with average rainfall less than 350 mm. According to the Australian government's Department of the Environment and Energy, Australia has about 134 million hectares of forest land, most of it in the north and the east. Bushfires are pretty common every year in the summer. Australian government data show that about 55 million hectares of forest land, more than 40% of the entire forest, have been affected by at least one such fire in the period between 2011 to 2016. So how are the ongoing fires different? This Australian summer, the spread and the intensity of the forest fire are something never seen before. According to a Reuters report earlier this week, the fire has impacted more than 10.3 million hectares of forest land so far, and they were that size of the South Korea. 27 people have so far died, while reports suggest millions of wild animals might have been killed. Australia's environment minister said up to 30% of the koala population was feared to have perished in the fires. Several record-breaking weather conditions are believed to have contributed to this unprecedented wave of forest fires. The Australian Bureau of Meteorology confirmed on Thursday that 2019 happened to be the warmest and the driest year for the country since 1900. Daytime temperatures were on an average 2 degrees Celsius higher than normal, while average rainfall for the country was 40% below normal. Heat and dryness are the key preconditions for the ignition and the spread of the forest fires. Australia is in the mindset of the prolonged drought, now spreading to 3 consecutive years. The 3 years between 2017 and 2019 were the driest 36-month period ever in the Murray-Darling Basin and the New South Wales. For last year at least, the problem has been compounded by the presence of one of the strongest ever positive Indian Ocean dipole IOD events. The IOD, which refers to the difference in the sea surface temperature in the eastern and the western Indian Ocean, either ways or cuts of moisture supply to Australia depending on whether the western Indian Ocean is cooler or the eastern. This year, the eastern Indian Ocean has been usually cold, and that contributed to the rainfall deficiency over Australia. Another indicator of the extent of the dryness this year is the condition of the soil moisture, which is at historic lows in the areas most affected by the fire. Scientists also point out to a rare stratospheric warming of Antarctica. Temperatures were 30 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius higher than normal in the region to 10 to 50 kilometers from Earth's surface, as yet another extraordinary weather event that could have contributed to the unusual heat and dryness in Australia. Can it contribute to climate change? Usually scientists are wary of attributing any single contemporary event to climate change, mainly because of the difficulty in completing ruling out of the possibility of the event have been caused by the thermal reason or as a result of natural variability. In this case, however, there is strong evidence to indicate that nearly all the drivers of the extraordinary heat and the dryness in Australia which led to these unprecedented forest fires could directly be linked to the climate change. The warming trend that made the 2019 the warmest year on the record for Australia, the prolonged drought, several rainfall deficiency, the strong positive IOD and the low soil moisture can be easily attributed to the climate change. Most significantly, exactly these kinds of the bushfires of higher intensity and the widespread have been predicted by the climate change study in the past. As far back as in the 2007, the Intergovernmental Panel on the Climate Change (IPCC) had said in its fall assessment report that the climate change was likely to increase the frequency of the fires in Australia. This has been re-emphasized in all the recent IPCC reports. In Southeast Australia, the frequency of very high and extreme fire danger days is likely to rise by 4 to 25% by the 2020 and 15 to 70% by 2050. The IPCC report has said in its 2007 report, the fires this season have also been concentrated in Southeast Australia. In both Australia and New Zealand, the fire season length is likely to be extended. The report had said the Australian bushfires are therefore being seen as one of the biggest climate disasters of our times, and it is unlikely to intensify even further considering that the Australian summer is not yet over. Thousands of the people have already been rendered homeless, and Australian authorities on Thursday told the people to be ready for more than mass evacuations, particularly those living in the southeastern parts where the fires have caused the maximum devastation. So if you like the channel, so kindly subscribe to it.